The term official document refers to any document or other written statement that is issued by a government or other official body to verify identity, establish ownership, and provide proof of compliance with laws and regulations. Oftentimes, official documents provide evidence of legal transactions, agreements, and other important information. They are also used to access information on anything that can help to learn more about a person, their property or events which have occurred at some point in history, such as criminal records, eviction information, and many other applications which are not normally understood unless access to these records is requested. Now, when such documents get lost or damaged as a result of disaster like a fire incident, flooding, contamination, damage that require records cleaning before they are dried, misplacement that cannot be easily traced, or theft, operational efficiency and effective decision-making, among others, are often hampered. So, how best can organizations prepare for document preservation against disaster, protect and recover official documents in Nigeria? Well, Nigeria Today will be taking a look at these and more as we discuss safeguarding official documents in Nigeria. I am Eukaria Clinton. Welcome. Now, joining me in the studio for this discussion is Haniel Jafaru. He's an IT and cybersecurity expert. You're welcome once again to Nigeria Today.
Thank you for always having me.
Also joining us in the studio for the conversation is the PRO FCT Fire Service Superintendent Ibrahim Muhammad Tawheed. Good to have you in Nigeria Today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Tawheed, I'll start with the recent occurrence we had with the Supreme Court. We just had a fire gutted down some section of the Supreme Court this morning, even though it was put out almost immediately. But we understand that the staff there were evacuating some of the official documents, some important, vital, documents. Now, that brings us to the question: what can you attribute some of these fire incidents to?
Yes. Good evening once again. It is obvious that fire incidents don't just happen. There are causes, and the two major causes are either natural or man-made. Natural being out of earthquake, tsunami, and some other natural phenomenon. Then when we talk about man-made, which is more rampant, we talk about carelessness. We talk about arson, that is deliberate act. So most of the cases that happen to us in the office or even in our homes are due to carelessness. Because carelessness, if we are trying to list what led to fire through carelessness, the list is endless. One is as a result of probably not adhering strictly to regulations, standard regulations, by trying to, cut corners. When you're trying to buy substandard materials, like you are using a cable in your office, you are using an extension cable, you are building a house, all these things can be substandard, and at the long run, they will collapse one day and give up, and they will give in to fire. More so, we also know that carelessness is also part of housekeeping. When you are not arranging your documents as is expected, haphazard arrangement for here and there, maybe making wrong connections, and then from there, the cable might just get heated up, and from there will be fire. Then overloading of sockets in the office, especially when you want to achieve, many aims as using one socket. Your socket, just a single socket, your electric kettle is plugged there, your photocopier is also plugged there by extension, so you are trying to pressure the cable, and one day it will just give in to fire. So most of these things are the carelessness that we can always enumerate that people are, into and causes fire at ease. So the issue of the chamber in question, that is the Supreme Court, actually the investigation is still on, but there is already an established probability that it might be due to electrical fault. So while the investigation is still on, we are not to preempt that investigation right now. So let's leave that to when the investigation has been concluded.
Okay, now, Jafari, he's talked so much about what could have caused the fire. And you understand that in some of these incidents where people did not really get so lucky, like in the past we had even the INEC offices that were burnt down, a lot of documents were got down by fire. Of course, we also had the disaster like flooding and the rest of them, other things that can lead to you losing some vital documents. So how important is it for us to, as a matter of urgency, adopt technology, modern technology in safeguarding our document?
Okay, before we even talk about adopting technology, there are procedures and policies that needs to be put in place. And sadly, most government agencies and government parastatals have not adapted, or they've not added this policy to what they should adhere to. Now, there is what's known as Disaster Recovery and Business Continuity Plan. It's a policy majorly for the business, the corporate sector. But again, as long as we deal with papers, we should also put it at the back of our mind that incidents can occur, natural incidents like fire and the like. So the Disaster Recovery and Business Continuity Plan is a plan that tends to tell you what you should do and how you should continue to operate if you experience a natural disaster like fire. So it tends to tell you, it gives you guidelines, what you should do. It gives you guidelines on how you should operate. It tells you what needs to be done, what are the plans you put in place. And that is where the technology actually comes to play, because in disaster recovery plan, as he had rightly mentioned, it can be man-made and it can be from natural disaster, but both of them still fit into the disaster recovery, because we were lucky in this part of the world where we don't have the likes of tsunami and earthquake and the likes. But again, there are other disasters that we experience, like the flooding. So beyond fire, if we experience disasters like flooding, what happens to the documents? That's the question we begin to ask ourselves. So the first thing is, in our disaster recovery plan, the first thing what we need to do is, it usually clearly states, that disaster recovery plan usually states how you should, what kind of site you should have, because there is what's known as cold site, warm site, and hot site. Hot site is a site that replicates what you have in your actual office. Everything, the documents you have, all the things that you have, it's hidden, but it has a replica document, replica machine, and everything in a particular place that nobody knows. So in the case where there is a disaster, all you just need to do is to shut down where the disaster had occurred, and you switch to your hot site and you turn it on, and it will be as though you did not actually experience anything yet. Then the warm site would be you having some of the document or some of the machines, or you just have the space. The cold site will just be you having only the space. So all these things are information that needs to be put in the disaster recovery plan that organizations should begin to embed into their processes. And if they don't put that, it means we would always continue to lose documents, and those documents can be catastrophic on the long run, because we may need them to carry out specific policies, and we're unable to get this document because they have been either be burnt or be flooded.
Okay, now the other time you talked about how and what could lead to these fire incidents. Now, in your opinion, or okay, well, I would say as a professional, because that is what you are. Now, what must be present in an office to ensure that we avert situations such as the one we had this morning in the Supreme Court?
Yeah, very good. In fact, just like you rightly said, preparedness is the first key in disaster management. And if you're prepared, there are a lot of things that are, you should put in place. One, office as such as where documents are being relied upon, you must make sure that you install automatic fire suppression system. In every operational system, there must be a kind of attack, just like a football match. You don't go to your goal post and start defending. They will still penetrate and come in. So instead, go and attack. So what I mean by this attack is to get prepared. Prepare your place, prepare your document, prepare your office against this attack by installing automatic fire suppression system. We have automatic cabinets that are fireproof. Store your documents there. That's number one. By so doing, you have protected the document because these are fire-resistant cabinets that can resist fire for a certain period. Before it gets to the level that it will start giving way to the fire extinguishers must have been ready to extinguish such fire, or maybe the firefighters are around. That's one. Two, you must also install the system that even when you are not there, it operates itself. We have what we call FM200. FM200 have a cylinder. The cylinder is filled with heptafluoropropane chemical. Or we have Novec 3000. It's also the new one in town. So we have F500. All these things, they are stored in a sensitive place, like archive, like where we have the data center, and some other places like that. Very important. Then the third thing is, just like you said, you must be able to document. In fact, we don't even believe in hard copy things anymore. Then store them in a storage device and maybe in the cloud, just like we are the technology, we have embraced technology. So if you are doing that, that means you have backup, even if these ones are damaged. But the first thing first is, let us start embracing that safety consciousness of attaching more importance to our documents by installing automatic fire suppression that will work when you are not there. So if archives are created, then most of the documents should not litter the office. Take them to the archive and make sure automatic fire suppression system is there. When it is activated as a result of sensing smoke, it will extinguish the fire, and when you come in the morning, you will just know that something nearly happened, but this thing has automatically suppressed it. That is what we should be doing now. That is what we should be encouraging people now, because most of the fire sensitization program we are doing now, we just finished one in all the area councils.
Before you get there, I'll come to that part of the sensitization. Now, Jafaru, tell us, I hear quite a lot about some software that are being used to store documents, like the recent one now I hear of artificial intelligence, the AI. So I kind of, will I say, a little bit confused here. I don't know much about it. I hope I'm not sounding off on air right now, but there are some things that are some modern technology that are on now that I know that can do quite a lot of things, in terms of safeguarding documents. So tell us more about these things and how they can be used.
So there are different cloud solutions. And one of the cloud solutions that we have for this particular purpose would be a cloud solution that helps in storing of data. So you have a particular document, you can scan the document in whatever way you want to, and upload a copy of that, a digital copy of that document to the cloud. And that would mean that the document is in another person's system, not your system. Okay. So you can access that person's system, or you can access that document from your system on that person's system and download it to your system, do whatsoever you want to do with it, and upload it back, and it will remain there, and it is saved there actually. In all honesty, there are level of security that the cloud providers put in place that you as a small and medium enterprise or as an organization, you may not be able to put those kind of security in place. So it's easier and safer to put your document in the cloud, knowing fully well that you can access the document, one, from anywhere, as long as you have an internet connection. 2, the document safe. You can, except you decide to, the risks now would not be except you decide to release the document, your credentials to another person, and the person would now access the document on your behalf.
Sorry to cut you short. You talked about storing it in another person's system,
Yeah,
right? What if anything happens to the system?
Okay, now that's why it's a cloud. I used that to explain the concept of cloud. Okay. But again, it's not. It is an organization. That's the service that they offer. That's the service they provide. They make their systems available. You can access their system, store whatsoever thing you want to store in the system, and they are built in all the necessary security in the system and in the infrastructure to ensure that nobody accesses it besides you. To ensure that the system, if anything happens, they also have a backup copy. So if anything happens to the system that you have uploaded, you would not even know that all you know is that you are accessing a particular service. All you know is that you are accessing a particular service. You don't know the system. You don't know where it is. You don't know. It's completely alien to you. It's just you knowing fully whether I need my document. Your document appears. You access the document, and it's just a way of ensuring that you're safe, your details are safe, your documents are safe, and you're getting the service as quite needed and from any part of the world as long as you have an internet connection.
Okay. Now, each time I just talk to you, the way you give me the smile. Thank you. Now, you talked about sensitization. How well are people aware of some of the things? Because people take a lot of things for granted. In terms of making sure their houses or their environments are safe. In terms of this fire, not only fire, though any other incidents, but especially fire, since you're the fire service person here.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is the level of sensitization?
Fine, quite okay. In FCT Fire Service, we have a very vibrant and erudite leader, Engineer Zakios Adebayo. Honestly, he introduced something recently. Before, we used to wait for dry season to do more of the campaign because we believe that fire incidents happen more during dry season. But when he came on board, he said, no, fire doesn't have season. It happens all time. Because most times, if you come to fire station and take statistics of the kind of fire outbreak that is happening within FCT, you will be so surprised and say, wow, we thought these fire people are just sleeping and waiting for like months or 2 months for them to turn out for a particular fire. No, almost every day we go out for fire. So in that case, he now introduced this all seasons fire sensitization campaign, which we went to all the area councils. We have about 14 stations in FCT, 6 area councils, and other 8 within the FCC, that's Federal Capital City. So we have gone and educate people. We have gone to so many communities educating them on something. But let me shock you. This morning, because we share our numbers as if we are sharing chewing-gum, so cheap than even chewing-gum, because chewing-gum at least you have to buy it, you have to pay something. But this one is so cheap that we share it. But you'll be surprised today, during the Supreme Court's fire incident, it was a running call. Because we have 3 ways you can call us. Either by telephone, which is faster. Running call, that means coming to our station yourself and say, hey, there's a fire so place. Or the third one, through broadcast. Somebody might just go to the radio station and say, please call the fire service, or let the fire service know there's a fire happening in so particular place. If you're not tuned into that radio station at that time, we may not be aware on time. So it was a running call. A police officer had to come to our office. So what happened to the people or the occupants of that building in the Supreme Court? Does that mean that they don't have our numbers? So that is one of the things. So fire doesn't wait. Once it happens from 0 seconds to 120 seconds, that is 2 minutes, it is assumed small. But anything above that minute, it's assumed a larger fire, to be a bigger fire. So in that case, as it is not waiting, time is being wasted for such person to run from Supreme Court to our office, despite the closeness. That the fire is not waiting. So that is why when the fire got to the roof, we are not taking that fire as a light fire. And when we got there, it was a combined forces of both FCT Fire Service and Federal Fire Service that were able to. We got there around 7:30 a.m. and we put it under control by 9:05. That's about 2 hours. So that is one of the things we have been doing. Sensitization is on, and we are not tired about that. We have gone to motor parks, garage, markets. We have different programs, and I want to believe that the new minister that we have in FCT, Yeson Wike, will do more for us because he has promised to do more, and we are trying to key in on that. Thank you so much.
Now, Haniel, I know you've mentioned the cloud, and of course, you didn't talk much about the AI. I understand the AI can do much more than we have presently. Okay. And of course, before you answer that, how important is it for us to train and retrain in this area? Because a lot of people refuse to transition because they can't operate some of these things, especially some of the, the older ones.
Well, sadly, this is probably going to be a broad topic because it's all about going paperless, and that would mean embracing e-government.
Wow.
And when it means embracing e-government, it means everything we're doing will be electronic. And yeah, the truth of the matter is that if you're unable, if you can't beat them, you join them.
Yeah.
So that's the state we're going to. We're going to a state where everybody needs to go in line with technology, and that would mean that everybody needs to know how to operate the technology. I was in what program recently, and I was talking about the three aspects of digital skill. We have the digital enablers, which are the people that build the technology, the software developers, the AI developers, and all that. But we have the digital users. Those are the people that use the technology. So the least you should be is a digital user. No matter how illiterate you are, you should be a digital user. At least those are the people that operate the technology. You know how to turn on your system. You know how to shut down your system. You know how to go to whatsoever application you want to go to, operate the application and the likes. Then there is also the role of the digital transformers. The digital transformers are now those that engage in the training, those that train both the digital users and the digital enablers. And under the digital transformers, we also have the government to regulate. That's where the regulators comes to play. Yeah, so there is the digital enablers, those that make the technology and build the applications. We have the digital users, those that operate the technology, and we have the digital transformers, those that build the enablers and the users, and also the government regulators. So it is essential that we continue to. Now, in October, we'll be entering the Cybersecurity Awareness Month, which is going to be largely geared towards ensuring that people are aware of the security implications of having to deploy whatsoever technology, be it the AI technology, be it the cloud-based technology, the online child protections and the likes. So in the whole of October, that's what we'll be looking at, and that's how I believe we would have to go. So training is important. Training, you can't stop learning. We have to keep learning because the technology you used yesterday is already outdated today.
So we have to go paperless for our document to be safe, really safe.
We have to. Very, very necessary.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. That's it on Nigeria Today. I would like to appreciate Haniel Jafaru. He's an IT and cybersecurity expert. Thank you so much for your time and your contribution. And also the PRO FCT Fire Service, Superintendent Ibrahim Muhammad Tawheed.
Thank you
so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for always being a part of this. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekday by 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also check out these episodes and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Eukaria Clinton. Goodbye.